Hi everyone. OMC includes a data importation wizard that makes it easy for you to transfer your company data into the CMMS. The main idea is as follows. Step 1 is where you add your company data to Excel worksheets. And step 2 is where you use the data entry wizard to transfer the data from the Excel worksheets into the CMMS. Today we'll look at step 1, which shows how to format and add your company data to the Excel worksheets. Step 2, which deals with the data entry wizard, is discussed in a separate video. So, 2 Excel workbooks are supplied in your downloaded CMMS files. The first workbook has sample or practice data, and the other workbook is left empty so that you can add your own data. Now let us take a closer look at the Excel worksheets with the sample data. You will notice that the first worksheet, also called the home page, is a table of contents that provide links to the different worksheets within the workbook. Some worksheets contain help information such as how to use the workbook or the different types of errors that may be encountered during the data transfer. There are 15 different worksheets to store your company data, and each worksheet is given the same name as the corresponding data files used within the CMMS. These worksheets are also numbered to indicate the order in which they should be transferred. The first column in the table provides a link to the worksheets. Column 2 is a description of the worksheet data. Column 3 indicates whether the worksheet stores data for a main file or a related file. Please be reminded that a related file stores data that is used by more than one equipment. Column 4 indicates the number of columns that the worksheet contains. Column 5 shows the default data that should be used when no data is available. For example, if no employee is assigned to an entity, then enter the words first last in any worksheet where the name of the employee is required. Column 6 indicates whether the data file is required for the CMMS to function. We recommend that you use as many data files as possible, as this will significantly increase the benefits of your CMMS. Now, if you do not plan to use a file, then leave the corresponding worksheet empty. Reminder as well that you can always add data to a worksheet and import it at a later date. Column 7 indicates the minimum number of columns on the worksheet that must have data before the CMMS will function effectively. Note that only the main asset file must have at least 2 fields of data. Note also that the table is separated into 2 sections. The lower section is only needed if you plan to use the square parts warehouse module. This section also can be imported later if needed. Now let us take a look at the main asset file worksheet. Note there are 37 color-coded columns that store different data for each entity. Not all the columns are required as stated earlier, as only the main asset file requiring the equipment name and equipment number are absolutely required. The top row displays the default data for each column. Recall that default data must be used in any column if actual data is not available. The red columns show the equipment name and number, which are the only 2 required columns that must have unique data. That is, no duplicate names or numbers are allowed. The green columns are special columns that give their data from a drop-down list. The data for this list is stored in other worksheets called related worksheets. Recall that related worksheets store data that is used by more than one equipment. So, for example, select the location worksheet and add a new location called Location 1. Now return to the main asset file and note that Location 1 is now available for selection from the drop-down list. The yellow columns stored optional data for the entity and can be left blank or empty. The blue columns should not be left empty, so use default data in these columns if actual data is not available. Please note that whenever you copy and paste data to this worksheet, you should use the Paste by Value option to preserve the formulas in the cells. For example, to copy and paste a large block of data, copy the data, then right-click inside the cell. Select the Paste by Value option to paste the data. Fields 13 to 20 store the 4 maintenance frequencies and their next PM dates. These are F1 to F4 and T1 to T4 for each entity. For example, if an entity has a maintenance frequency of 30 days and the next PM date is 20, January 2021, then enter F1 equals 30 and T1 equals 20, January 2021. Repeat the process if there are other maintenance frequencies for this equipment. Enter the default frequency of 10,000 for any frequency that is not used. Finally, let us look at the other Excel workbooks that is provided with your downloaded files. This workbook contains formatted worksheets with only one record or default data. Add your own data when you are ready. Then activate the wizard to transfer the data into the CMMS. This completes our discussion on adding data to the Excel worksheets in OMC. Thanks for watching.